Hi, Totally French persons again. Welcome back to a video. This is a video I'm wanting to watch. This is by Penguin Zero. This one is called "Discussing YouTuber in Prison for 10 Years." This is interesting. Let's check it out.
Say it out loud with my whole chest. I love learning about useless, meaningless internet drama.
I'm gonna close my curtain so you guys can see the TV.
Embarrassing amount of time reading every little niche that a community has, going to every single facet of the internet, thinking about what kind of controversy or what drama is happening over there. If I spent that same amount of time that I do reading about internet drama, instead spent that time learning useful skills, I would have been able to master like 5 different skills right now, like really cool special things like juggling and clogging. But instead,
Clogging the toilet?
It's my main vice, and it's more addicting than heroin, and I recognize that it's a pathetic hobby. It'd be less embarrassing if I just made fursuits in my spare time than read about internet drama. But regardless, the reason I'm talking about it today is because I recently watched Wavy Web Surf's new video on YouTubers that
I haven't seen that video.
I was confident that I would know everyone that he was about to speak on, and I did know all of them except one. And that surprised me because the one I didn't know is really a fucked up situation that I feel most people probably weren't aware of. Because when I look up this person's name, there's only one channel that's ever really talked about them at length. And that was Philip DeFranco.
Oh, yeah.
Philip DeFranco talks about something Money Wubby talked about, which was the really weird fetish of breastfeeding videos on YouTube.
What?
Where it clearly wasn't
just go to porn.
They weren't breastfeeding their kids
people?
for the sake of like getting the nutrients, you know, like the actual biological function of breastfeeding. They were filming this because it was fetish.
What's the point of watching those kind of videos when you go to Pornhub and get better shit than
content to some really sick weirdos that were watching it? So he was focusing on the entire depraved community and only briefly mentioned the person we're about to talk about, Lee Felton. Lee Felton was once a piano teacher, but after
not that
her
hot.
left her and her child, she then got desperate for money and started posting breastfeeding videos on YouTube that were clearly meant to be sexual. For those that don't know, YouTube has always had an exception to their nudity policy if the content is educational. And they used to have that for artistic expression as well, but that started
that for gore too. Just so it's live surgeries on fucking YouTube without getting monetized.
Artistic and then just have full nudity on YouTube. I remember a couple of classic bangers, such as the girl who opened a can of SpaghettiOs with her pussy and then like dumped the SpaghettiOs on the floor and called it modern art.
What?
Or the absolute timeless masterpiece of the older woman who dressed in a morph suit but then cut the pussy out, so she just had her vagina on full display, and then she had a man pick her up and carry her around while she peed everywhere in a circle.
Gross.
So that was hype. And eventually YouTube recognized that this was getting abused, so they don't really have that exception for artistic nudity anymore, at least not like they used to, but it does still exist for educational content. So things like how to administer a breast exam, or like how to do a Brazilian wax. If you look up that kind of shit, you can find full nudity because it's people trying to educate, even though
I'm looking at this show. Let's go to Pornhub.
Bad actors here, once again, just using that educational loophole for porn on the platform. But the point is, there's also naked yoga on YouTube, fully nude yoga that they claim is educational on poses and how the human body reacts to poses. I'm getting sidetracked.
That's what OnlyFans is for.
There is a loophole for nudity on the platform as long as it's educational. And Lee Felton, it took advantage of that. She started making this breastfeeding content where she just had her titties out and she had her child being breastfed.
Okay.
And she made a lot of content like that and then started to recognize that her audience wasn't women trying to learn how to breastfeed. It was creepy, absolute fucking worms that were watching her to jerk off.
Oh Lord, that's weird.
Lee reportedly made breastfeeding videos where she rubbed herself and her child down in oil and shoved her.
What is the screen right now?
Lee would give her videos titles akin to something you might find on an adult website. Titles such as "Slip and Slide" and "Mommy's a Whore."
Oh my God.
Right.
Me too, man. Me too.
Right. So Lee Felton turned to the ultimate dark side. She was not only producing this pornographic material, but she was selling unlisted links to the videos to these absolute fucking degenerates.
That's fucked up,
and
man.
you can clearly recognize the big problem here. She was producing pornography that involved an actual child.
Yeah.
Reports a Wisconsin man was apparently busted.
Posting porn on YouTube is bad enough, but posting it with the fucking...
After discovering the
Yeah,
repulsive videos, the wife reportedly felt into authorities.
And hopefully the wife also left the husband, because that is an absolute unhinged weirdo. And hopefully he was also charged with purchasing child pornography. That's what this shit is.
It is.
Porn that involves a child. It's child pornography. And initially she was facing an
She's ugly.
grocery list here of
I hate to say it, but
charges,
she's
34
ugly.
counts of capital sexual battery, plus other charges of promoting a sexual performance by a child, possession of child pornography, and lewd and lascivious molestation, crimes that could have carried a life sentence. But she was only found guilty on one of the charges, which carried a 10-year sentence. Now, let's go
10
over
years,
a little
wow.
bit more of what Wavy Webster points out, which is how she defended these actions in the case.
During her trial, she would describe her videos as a, quote, silly little playful thing, and that she doesn't believe it's criminal.
A silly little
she's
playful
stupid.
thing, huh? Fucking minutes. What a theme.
Yeah.
Oh, so goofy to produce porn that involves a child that is in your porn. Man, how
That's
wacky.
like...
Well, wow, goodness graciously. This was her entire stance during the case, that it wasn't serious, and that she was also going through mental health struggles, which led to her doing this. She said that she had finally got attention that she had been craving for so long, so she leaned into it even further, but it was never serious, and it wasn't criminal or bad or anything. It was just a playful thing.
Oh,
That
bullshit.
she was also charging money for.
She knows what she was fucking doing.
Because a lot of titles like Mom
Hopefully she got her child taken away from her too.
Little Boy were being sold as the unlisted videos, but for some reason she still tried to play it off like, oh, that's just so silly, that's all, you guys are overreacting. That was her absolute lobotomized case during all of it. And her lawyers were just as smooth-brained. They tried to argue that everything she did was protected by free speech. I'm not even fucking kidding, I'm not making that up. They made this a free speech argument, that she should be able, and it's not criminal, for her to breastfeed her child in these sexually charged fetish videos because it's a free speech expression.
Lee Felton's defense attempted to argue that
I thought this was about a murder or something, not this.
Nobody was buying this defense. A Tallahassee sheriff's lieutenant.
Oh no, that's fucked up too.
Quote, the video was
Find about a murderer.
for the purpose of education or
Unless she was that girl who took her babies and put them in a fucking trash can whenever I heard about that shit.
This video is for sexual purposes.
Fucking obviously. This is not a free speech issue. I love free speech. I hate censorship. You know what this isn't? Free speech. And it's not censorship. You can't just use this as a catch-all term or defense like, what do you mean I can't dismember my neighbor when I'm upset? What about free speech? Huh? Do we not live in a free country? I can't go over there and just fucking decapitate him? Come on. What? Are you serious? I don't want to live in a society where Lee Felton can't produce sexual breastfeeding videos for people to enjoy. Oh my goodness. What happened to free speech? It's fucking lunacy. It's absolute craziness.
No,
that's what they tried.
it's hurting people.
But what's even more insulting is that it must have worked to some degree, because her charges, all 34 of them, she was found not guilty on, except for one. That charge carried a 10-year sentence, so she is still spending a significant time behind bars, but not as long as she should, I would argue. She, of course, lost custody of her child, but I really don't understand why they...
I said she should have gotten child taken away. I guess she did.
There was overwhelming evidence against her, with tons of videos, as well as tons of receipts of the videos being sold to like 40 or 50 different clients, allegedly.
Wow.
Like that, I still feel like 10 years was a pretty light sentence for all of this, with all of that considered, but whatever. Anyway, I just wanted to talk about this because I found this to be a pretty interesting story that I'd never heard of before, so huge hats off to Wavy Webster for finding this and talking about it, because this was a really interesting and really fucked up one. That's about it. So, yeah.
I think that picture of her looks familiar. It does. I don't know if I've seen that or not. I didn't watch that Wavy Webster video, so I don't know. But that sounds like really messed up and gross and ugh. Yeah. because she's not even hot. She's ugly. I hate to say it, but she is ugly. Maybe she was like maybe if she was a model or had, I bet she has a fucking OnlyFans. She had an OnlyFans too. Who knows? But yeah. It's a fucked up one though. I'll say that. Bye.